Welcome back, my delinquents. VTubers versus VRChat users, or is it VTubers versus Twitch? So to start the saga off, VRChat streamers were getting bans or warnings. And if you don't know what VRChat is a virtual reality game. It's a social game, and a lot of streamers use the 3D models in the game to stream with VR headsets like the Vive, Oculus, etc. with full body tracking and whatnot. They are known notoriously for being very lewd nowadays. They used to be known mainly for memes. I myself used to stream VRChat back in the day, just a little bit, so it's been around almost as long as VTubing. Some people would classify it as VTubing, some people wouldn't. Twitch has in the past had the stance that VRChat wasn't under the same rules as VTubing, as it is technically a game, which kind of made it slightly above the rules when it comes to VTubing. So recently some bans, they got some backlash over it from the VRChat community, and some people from it just generally coming out of nowhere. But this is where the tables turn and it becomes a bit controversial here, is that they then backtrack on that decision and say this. We made change to our enforcement guidelines recently regarding the application of our attire policy to VRChat streams. We receive a lot of feedback from the VRChat community about the confusion this has caused, especially since it was not accompanied by a change to our published policy guidelines. Effective today, we are rolling back the change to the enforcement guidelines. Any strikes due to this change will be, that said, as stated in our policy, our attire policy guidelines will still apply to VTubers, but does not apply to characters in games such as VRChat, meaning the avatars that they use, interpretation of this, is not held to the same standards as VTubing, as though a lot of VRChat avatars are used similar to VTubing. And it got a lot of backlash from VTubers, as you can imagine here from a lot of this, saying that VTubers can't have underboob, but VRChat avatars can be almost completely nude, which in some instances they are almost. Dance streams are incredibly popular where they're just dancing there with strings. Even Erundel, a popular 3D platform who likes VRChat and uses similar backgrounds and stuff like that, says it's a bit hypocritical. So this brought up the old question of, should VRChat, which is known notoriously for a lot of sexual things, be held above what VTubers standards are? I personally think that the avatar VRChat users use should be held to the same standard. I do understand making a difference between that there is games happening in the background, so I personally think they should not be interacting with sexual stuff. The avatar that they mainly use in these VR games should be held to the same standard as VTubers, while the environment be taken with the mindset that it's a game. So, because a lot of things happen in these games that sometimes is outside of the streamer's control, and that has hindered the game being streamed in the past. So I understand that aspect. I think a simple compromise here is the best way to go. But some people are saying here that VRChat should be, in general, held to the same standard as all VTubing. I don't think it's personally possible, just the varying amount of what is in this game. But I do see it that social games should be held a bit differently, and that the aspect that there is a person behind these avatars controlling them, similar to VTubing. I don't think VTubers should be held to a higher standard than almost everyone else on this platform. It seems a bit hypocritical. And a lot of people here might be like, Del, how bad can it be? How bad can be what the VRChat streamers do? Okay, it can be pretty bad, okay? Some of the bans over COVID was horrendous, but also there's stripping, there's sex works. There's a lot of things in VRChat that Twitch needs to keep a closer eye on, but at the moment, it's almost the Wild West Twitch section. It is so hard to get banned over there, it's ridiculous. I'm gonna accidentally encourage a lot of people to stream in the VRChat section, but it's known for harboring a lot of not allowed content on Twitch. But it is an interesting debate. Are VR streamers VTubers? And should they be held to the same standards as all VTubers? Again, I personally do think the avatars they use should be. But I do understand treating the in-game environment differently. And this has sadly created some discourse back and forward, some fighting on what is the right path here, including a lot of VR streamers actually come out and saying that they wish they would reel in a little bit of the sexual atmosphere in VRChat streams because they are kind of known as gooners. And I agree with this. I say I have played VRChat and people's like, Del, are you a gooner? And especially they expect a certain standard from you, and not saying like that's something to take away from it, but the reason VR chat streamers do have this reputation is because it's primarily a lot of streamers do sexual content, and a lot of it would normally be banned on Twitch. Why is it that every other aspect of Twitch streaming is dealt with a lighter hand than 2D or 3D VTubers? Why is the word VTuber making it so much harsher? Is it just because VR chat isn't the biggest market on there and it's kind of left alone? Or is it because VTubers are just in every section? Then why are we treated more harshly than actual in real life streamers? It doesn't really make sense. I personally think there's a compromise of censorship here, of where they are responsible for their avatar but not of their environment, etc. I think a little bit of leeway is needed for that game, but I don't think they should be allowed to just run completely wild as they have been at this stage. What do you think of the controversy? What do you think of the back and forwards debate between VTubers to VR chat streamers and towards Twitch? Because it seems no matter what they pick here, there's a lot of fighting. But honestly, I feel like this is the quickest cave I've ever seen of Twitch, where they got some complaints from VR chat streamers and completely caved to it yet again. It's very interesting and not usually what you see from Twitch, where they just cave into the peer pressure against rules. They tend to just double down a lot. And I can definitely see why VTubers are upset. What would you do, guys? What do you think is the right compromise here between VR chat streamers and VTubers? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. This is a very short video, but I didn't want to get into any specific drama between any people here. There was a lot of varying opinions between both sides, but that is the core issue of what's happening here. It's a complaint about Twitch rules, and it's a complaint about standards between them. And I'll catch you next time, my delinquents. You got this, bestie.